Participation in the school. I mean, you'd be giving a huge benefit to a lot of people who would not normally justify that benefit. So I think if you're looking for widening participation initiatives and spending money on that, then a blanket fee freeze would be a really poorly targeted way of doing that.
That's a joke, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to address the sort of red herring that you've used sort of a few times here, that you're saying you're trying to balance graduate fees and undergraduate fees. That's essentially pitting graduate students against undergraduate students, international students against domestic students. But what you're saying is you want to balance it out. Let me finish. Howard, let me finish really quick. You can address it after I'm done. So then, what you're saying is let's increase everyone's fees, so that somehow balances it out. That's obviously, I think most people don't fall for that con. The second question is, you're saying that the cuts in teaching grants, which amount to about $8 million, right? You're saying that that changes the dynamics of the campaign. Fact of the matter is, the most recent Finance Committee report says that we have a £19.2 million surplus. We put £250 million in the capital expansion this year alone to buy up more buildings and gobble up more of the neighborhood, and we cut teaching and learning by £1 million. You are standing by that, you signed off on that. Now it's time to actually make up that $7 million, a small percentage of our surplus, a smaller percentage of our capital expenditure budget, on actually freezing fees and making this university affordable and accessible.
If I just make sort of one general point, which is that, as I said right at the beginning, we've got some very difficult decisions to make here, and I'm not hiding that, honestly. But, we have some difficult decisions to make on intergenerational equity, on equity between different types of students. We have to think about the institution in the long term and not just about year by year. That's the sort of thing that I have to take into account. We have to think about the staff of this institution. One thing I am rather proud of is that, unlike many other universities around the country, we have no redundancy plans. We are able to keep people working here. We pay them respectably. In some cases, that's been as a result of student pressure. So there are all kinds of things that we have to take into account in making these decisions. And they are difficult decisions, and I completely accept that people feel rather strongly about them. And my point is that I hope that as we make these decisions, we can do them in a way which matches the way the school does things. It has a collaborative approach to decision making, it has students on all the relevant committees, and we talk to each other in a sensible, rational way. And on the whole, we don't shout at each other. And on the whole, we don't use adjectival things and say red herrings and blah, 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 and make, that's just not a great way of making these decisions. That's just one point I'd make. The second point I'd make is I never said anything at all about graduate fees. Completely wrong, you've misunderstood. I talked entirely about the undergraduate programme as between the domestic homogeneous students and the overseas students. And that's what I was talking about, as the questioner over here picked up quite accurately. So that's nothing to do with anything. The other thing about surpluses, yes, I've explained that we are in a good position, and that's why we are not in difficulties. We're not having to make severe cuts in this place in the way that other people and other universities are having to do. And I tell you, I'm proud of that. I'm not standing here to apologise. We have managed ourselves in good times in a prudent way, such that we don't have to panic. And you will all benefit from that. We are in fact continuing to invest in teaching. We have taken on more teaching staff following the Teaching Task Force recommendations. We've introduced LSE 100, which is an additional expenditure, additional cost on the undergraduate programme, but which we strongly support. So we're continuing to invest in this place. We're continuing to invest in improving our facilities. And I'm making no apologies for that whatsoever. But if you look forward, then if you look at the likely trends in government grants and the other costs that will be imposed on us, and the staff costs and everything else, then our best forecast is that we will, if we do nothing else, we will go quite quickly into deficit. and therefore that a fee freeze would be unaffordable in the medium term. Therefore, we have to take that into account as we make our decisions. So I look forward to working with the Students' Union on all of this over the next year, and I hope we'll do so in a spirit of collaboration where we're all trying to do the same thing, because I roughly think we are. I mean, I do understand what the Students' Union are trying to achieve. I do understand your concerns about access. I do understand the worries people have got about debt. I understand this perfectly well. But nonetheless, we have to think about how we manage through a very difficult period and how we manage this institution in the interest of people who are here now and who will be here in the future. And I hope we can do that together. And finally,